Hey, what's going on, everybody? Martavius and Jeremy here, and thanks for joining us in this exclusive behind-the-scenes look at Echoborn, A Journey of Sound. So this is just a new thing that we're doing. An extension really of like what we've already done before. So some of y'all probably seen some of our videos just talking about getting 1% better, or changing your mindset, or struggles that we've had like in relationships, or just our personal growth and how we navigated the world and ourselves to get to a place to where we can feel like, okay, I'm successful. I've learned enough. I've messed up enough. I'm gonna still keep messing up, but I'm gonna approach it in different ways to just get better overall. And so Echoborn came from just a culmination of those conversations. But here we just kind of want to just have like a quick chat with you all, just to share kind of a behind the scenes look, like where did this whole thing come from? What's it about? I know we just started the first weekly release on December 1st. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out in our school community. But if you're just new to this whole AI creation world and comics or novels or Afro fantasy, stuff like that, we're just here to kind of unpack some of that stuff for you. So again, thanks for joining us. Jeremy, you want to kind of kick us off with anything? I know you're like the mastermind behind a lot of this stuff.
Right, right. Yeah, definitely appreciate the introduction for sure. Yeah, I think agreeing with what Martavius mentioned, like this has been something that we've been cultivating for a long time. It's actually been a couple of years, truthfully, of just consistently meeting and um, planning, replanning, putting things out there that were terrible, and kind of starting back from scratch in multiple different instances. But we finally was able to land on a particular idea concept that we felt like would be, one, good for us as Black men in general, as well as something that we feel like others would be able to understand, or be moved by or gravitate to in general. So just kind of manifesting that creativity aspect of of life. Like we're all about improving life lessons, providing the toolkit that you need to succeed in whatever shape, form, or facet, multiple aspects of life, personal, professional, financial, whatever that may mean for you. And we just wanted to try to cultivate that in one, but kind of make it a little bit fun and interesting. So I know myself and Martavius, and we have another partner associated with it as well. We've been very passionate about like anime, just from the times that we've met over in college. Anime, comic books, video games, kind of thing. That's just kind of what has raised us and what raises a lot of like young men of color in general. So we felt like it was good to try to maneuver into that space somehow, some way. At the time, we didn't know what it was going to be, but it eventually birthed what's known today as Echoborn. So.
Right, right. Yeah, that's very great. I was like following the timeline you're saying, because it's like, yes, it seems like, oh, it just came out of nowhere, but this was since probably like 2021, 2022 or something like that,
Yeah.
where we got together, and again, we have these meetings and conversations, just like Jeremy said, just to check in on life, like overall, because we all had this experience in college, and then we went off, had families, had jobs, moved, did all these things, traveled, all these things. But then like came together at one point and just shared experiences, and that was helpful for us. I can just say me personally, it's like every time, me, Jeremy Anderson met, it's like after those meetings, I felt so energized. So and then it could be like 9 o'clock at night, but I'm like, woo, I'm just ready to take on the world. Because I have like all these ideas or all these new perspectives. Because sometimes Jeremy mentioned this before at one of our jam sessions. Like we did this like YouTube recording before like a studio, and he was talking about like a loneliness epidemic, and we had just come out of COVID, and it's just like that was like really fresh, and I feel like it's still lingering. Like some people are still isolated in their little bubbles, and they just need some outlet, some outlook on life that's a little bit different. And again, like Jeremy said, our way of finding that was like through anime, comic books. Like we grew up in the Dragon Ball Z generation, and like Sailor Moon, or all these different animes that really showed us like about bravery and courage, and if you're the underdog, you can still win, just as long as you put in the effort, right? So it just doesn't come to you. So one of those things that we wanted to do was like, okay, how can we take this thing of loneliness and people being isolated and not knowing their purpose. And because we can all fall into that in some way. Us just being undergrads in college, right? We kind of knew what we want to do, but at the same time we had no idea, because there was like this really big world. And of course, when we got together, started learning life principles, like what it means to like dress a certain way or conduct yourself a certain way in business or in play, like you still have fun but still be responsible type of thing. And we're just like, and I remember Jeremy, he mentioned something as a teacher. He was like, sometimes you have to teach people things without letting them know that you're teaching them. It's like you have to almost like disguise it in a sense, like give them the kind of give them the pill, but in a sandwich. And it's like, oh, eat this delicious sandwich, but they have to take this medicine or whatever that they really actually do need. But how can we package that? And I know he talked about comics and he talked about anime. He's like, let's just get back to the creative stuff. This is fine doing like the coaching, the consulting, the structure, the guides, all those things. But I feel like we're just missing another element. And that kind of reminds me of something else that Jeremy, again, I feel like Jeremy's a really big picture type of guy, and that helped to shape and form what we have as Echoborn today. Something that comes to mind is when you said, I think you should watch this movie called Blackberry. And he suggested, I was like, okay, what is this about? And essentially, it was about people getting together, creating one thing, but they were actually making something else, but they had no idea what they were making, right? And it turned out to be this whole thing. So just check out the movie if you haven't seen it already. But I think this is that thing. This is like our BlackBerry, right? So where we were starting off with one thing, and it's like some of those elements still exist, but it just transformed into this whole world of Echoborn, which is really great.
Yeah, yeah, definitely for sure. I mean, appreciate the kudos for that. I definitely feel like that we have been able to kind of find our niche, and we're very excited to share, what we have thus far with the broader community.
Mhm.
We feel like these characters really come to life. We feel like the story that's being told is engaging, relatable, understandable. The ebbs and flows of the characters in general kind of mirror the ebbs and flows of life as a whole, and you're going to be wanting to know what comes out next. So definitely, if you haven't checked out the prologue of the first weekly report, go ahead and check that out. Let us know what you think, and we'll definitely stay in touch as we have several new releases over the course of the next few months.
Oh yeah, for sure. And something else I kind of want to get into, like a little behind the scenes look, is this is more so for you, Jeremy, but like your prompting. So we use AI to help us to generate like images and some of the story. Of course, we started off with like Jeremy. He was like, let's have like a brain dump session, where we just went over all of our stories, right? So I have it on the board here, but it's like all of our life stories, things that we've intersected with each other. We're like, yeah, this was really hard, but we did it. Or this is really challenging, I didn't understanding, but we overcame it. And we just kind of mapped out all these different stories and took those stories and put it into AI to create something different. So could you like walk us through that process of what you did, Jeremy?
Yeah, I think first of all, I think AI is kind of the wave of the future in general. Either you can step on a wave and learn it and be a part of it, or you can somewhat be left behind. I think of the transition similar to, and I'm gonna date myself a little bit, but like the typewriter kind of thing. Like I can remember seeing my parents use typewriters, seeing my teachers use typewriters, and that being an essential thing prior to computers or laptops just being an everyday usage standpoint. That transition kind of happened seamlessly, but it occurred. The same thing goes with the computer. I can remember being in elementary school, preparing to do like full research papers, having to get an encyclopedia and going to the library and reading the text from the book and, citing that directly versus just doing a quick Google search on the
Right.
computer and being able to pull everything from there remotely. So I feel like that transition we're in the middle of that same wave with the leverage of AI. So just wanted to be able to just use it in an everyday thing, like not even necessarily to, conduct a product in general, just use it just as a creative mechanism. I primarily see it as a thought partner or like a junior writer kind of thing, and as a scalability tool. So it allowed us to produce things a little bit quicker and faster. Still being the primary source of the direction, of even the character creation, the character description, the voicing, and all of those like narrative technical pieces of it. Like they're still um, done by us as authors. But just AI just allows us to scale it very quickly, edit it very quickly, provide any loose ends when we're at a roadblock or suggestions. I kind of see it. I was thinking of an example somewhat this morning. It's almost like wanting to get something to help you do a puzzle. Like if you have 100-piece puzzle, some tool or some technology can help you with the puzzle, but you still have to be the one to put it together, or you have to get it to a certain point. Like you don't need it to tell you to put all 100 pieces. You just need it to tell you when you at piece 47 and you're just kind of stuck, to help provide you with that nudge to get from 47 to 51. Then okay, I understand the flow now. Now I can do the rest of it, kind of
Right.
thing. So I just use it as like a stepping ground to just help the flow of the power or of the narrative to go. And then just from that particular stepping point, it allows, my brain to take it to the direction, that I feel like it needs to go, that I want it to go, how I feel that once the character has come alive, within the text, like I kind of think of it as if, what would this individual do? Like, seriously, what would they say? What would they feel? What vibe would they give off? Um, how would they react to people of other vibes, kind of thing. Um, so yeah, it's very like intricate. It's not a thing where we say, "Hey, chat, write this book for us."
Right.
That's 100% not what's going on. Not if you know how to do that, please tell me, because I can save a lot of time and energy. But it's still very much you're doing 80, 85, 90% of the writing and the curation. It's just kind of helping you fill the void of that if you kind of reach a plateau to a certain extent.
Yeah, yeah, that's well said. I appreciate that. How this whole series, the arcs, all the things is coming from like us first. It's like it's not like you said. It's just a write my stuff, and I like the puzzle analogy too. It's like I want to solve the puzzle myself because I want to still use my brain. Like I still want to work this thing, and don't just put everything off to AI and like, okay, machine, do my work for me, And it's like you said, yeah, it's helpful to fill in those gaps, but it's like I really appreciate that approach that we've taken, and that we start from us. Like it comes from a human experience, it comes from a human thought process. We just need some help sometimes filling in the gaps where we're not like literary geniuses on this particular thing, like how to get this character to transition from this thought process to this like scene or whatever. And it's like, how do we do that? And we know we want to go in that direction, but sometimes we miss that. And like you said, that helps us to fill in those gaps and ideate. But I like how the discussions and the planning around it still comes from us. And I really appreciate that, honestly. Because again, it's like the more AI, some stuff comes out, it's just like, that's fake, that's fake. It feels like, what do you trust anymore? But I think a big part of what we wanted to do with Echoborn is just still make it human, right? It's just like this still comes from a human experiences. This is like our life experience, but it's transformed and translated in a different way. So if you see somebody struggling with something, it's like that probably came from one of our personal stories, but it's disguised like, ooh, you don't know it's me, because it's just some fantasy character that we created. So just in closing, like, just what can you do? So if you do want to keep joining this story, this conversation, of course, just like join our school community. It is absolutely free. You just go in there, and then on the book club section, you can start to see the releases of Echoborn. So as they come out, if you want to be part of the conversation live as it happens, you can just go in there and then write in your chats, or like, oh, I love this, or I didn't expect this, or wow, I can't believe, whatever thing you have there. But then there's a classroom section as well, so you can do a deep dive as the chapters and sections release. You can kind of go back and just see the whole gambit of things if that's what you want to do. But any other closing thoughts from you, Jeremy?
Um, yeah, just, check us out. Everything is great. I know we didn't go super in detail into the character just because it's very much a new
Mhm.
thing, so we don't want to provide any spoilers for anybody that hasn't
Yeah,
read or looked into anything. But as we progress with the story, and it just kind of starts becoming common knowledge of who these characters are, what their motives are, where they're coming from, where they're trying to go, then we'll kind of dig a little bit deeper into the creation of this particular individual and kind of why they move the way they move, why they don't do X, Y, and Z kind of thing, what led to them doing this series of events which shifted the story one way versus the other. So, more to come. Stay tuned, stay engaged, and let us know your thoughts.
awesome. All right, with that, everybody, thanks for joining us on this quick little creator's cut about Echoborn. We hope to do these again in the future, just to kind of move the story along. And until then, we'll see you guys later.
Peace.